Okay, so I'm going to make another one of these videos today on this house. Some people have been very nice about my videos, but other people have said I shake the camera about too much and it's all a bit unclear. So sorry about that, but it's just me here doing this stuff, and so anyway, I'm going to do my best. So quite a lot of people at some stage or other have had one of these houses. It's a small, what used to be called 2 up, 2 down Victorian terraced house built for working class people at the turn of the 19th, 20th centuries. Now it's quite a nice little house this, and there's not too much wrong with it, but one of the things that often crops up with this type of building is damp. And the thing I'm going to talk about on this film is these things, right? So when you're perhaps looking at one of these houses and thinking of buying it, you might often see a row of holes, in this case 2 rows of holes that have been filled in. And what this is what some people call a chemical damp proof course, what I call a silicone injected damp proofing treatment. I'm not going to go into long-winded detail about this, but basically what's happened here is that somebody's come along and identified dampness in this wall, and it's quite right, because the wall is damp, but the trouble is that it's then been referred to what they call a timber and damp specialist, and it's not a specialist that's done this. It's a contractor who has made a report and said if you have one of our injected damp proofing treatments, all the problems will be over. And this has happened twice, at least twice. In fact, as I'll show you at the back, there's been a third one as well, and they don't work. The theory is sound, sort of. They inject a liquefied chemical into the bottom of the wall, and then it soaks through to form a barrier, and it will stop rising dampness. That's dampness that comes up through the ground into the wall. And what they're basically saying when they recommend one of these is that the old slate damp proof course has gone wrong, has failed. And my issue with that is that is very, very rarely the case. So I'm going to just come around here a little bit. There's a rainwater pipe there, and that's significant because you can see what used to be the case is that drained under the front here and would have come out here somewhere. But that's no longer the case, so no idea what's happening to the water that comes down that rainwater pipe. I've got a horrid feeling that some of it's ending up back in the house. This is one of these houses where the top floor extends over this sort of tunnel type thing at the back, and sometimes they go, this is nothing to do with dampness, I'm just saying this on the way, sometimes you get half of this space. In this case, the house I'm looking at, which is this one, goes all the way across the passageway. So this is their bit of property here. The people next door have a right of way. So you can see the damp proofing thing has been done all the way along this wall, both times. Back here, there's a drainage gully. Don't know where that goes. Should go into, well, I do know actually, that goes into their combined drain. Now here is the clue to what's going wrong. What I normally do, first of all, is look up and look at the wall, look at the gutters. That doesn't look too bad, and the wall, there's no obvious sign that water's cascading down there. So that doesn't look like that's the problem, but you can see this wall is green, permanently damp. And this thing here, that ventilates the area under the suspended timber floor. Now, depending who you talk to, that's of critical importance, or doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. That's for another day. But at some point in the past, the ground has been really raised up quite a lot here, because originally that would have been, you know, above the ground, and now it's well below it. So what somebody's, as well as the damp proofing treatment, the recommendation, I think, was to cut back these brick block type sort of things, and to fill and to put gravel down, which is sort of better than nothing. It's better than having these things right up against the wall, but it's not it's not enough. Here, this it's another little clue. That's the sill under the window. The window's been replaced, but the old wooden sill's still there, and that's rotten. So that whole area there is damp. And basically, the thing, what's going on here, is that the slate damp proof course has been bridged by the ground, so it can't work anymore. And these silicone injection things just don't work, because if they did, that wall would not be as damp as it is. As an aside, you can see that the wall's been pointed, it's been repointed in the past. It's been done quite well. Nothing wrong with the standard of the pointing, but the trouble is they've used cement, mortar, type of mortar that you see on modern houses with cavity walls. And the thing about that is that if that wall gets damp, it's very difficult for it to dry out, because the original lime mortar would have allowed evaporation, and that's a real hobby horse of quite a lot of people at the moment. So what can you do? Well, I'm not a fan of these silicone injected damp proofing treatments at all. I've seen loads of these over the years. I'll just show you here. Look, you can see this has been done 3 times. This is ridiculous. Okay, you can see the one at the bottom there, then somebody else has come along and done that one, and there's another one here. And I mean, that's just absurd. It's just completely ridiculous. And you know, for all I know, these poor people who are buying this house will probably have a mortgage valuation. The mortgage valuer will say, get a timber and damp report. The timber damp company will come along and say, have another chemical damp proof course, despite the fact it's failed to work 3 times. And they have to do it because the mortgage lender says you've got to follow the recommendations, which is nonsense, really. Anyway, the bottom line is this wall's never going to dry out. Probably never going to dry out anyway unless you rebuild it, but it hasn't got a chance of drying out while the ground is up here like this, especially if we've got bad drainage, leaking drains, water flowing down here, possibly going through that ventilator into the subfloor area. You know, it's just that's just not going to work. If you can isolate the timber floor inside from the dampness and be confident that it's not going to go rotten, you can the fact that the wall is damp is not of critical importance, actually. And what you can do is use a membrane based damp proofing system. There's various ones on the market, and then just tank the wall on the inside, essentially, rather like a basement, and then forget about it. But actually using these the main point of this is not that I've not got a magic answer to how to make that wall dry, but these silicone injected damp proofing systems, I've been doing this for nearly 25 years, and I've looked at, you know, so many of this situations like this. They just don't work in the vast majority of cases. So hope somebody finds that interesting, and that's it for today. We're in Chesham, by the way, today.